Hi, everyone. It's Reverend Dr. Katie. Hope everyone's doing really great today. And I am here to talk to you about energy. We're always talking about energy, but about the energy of your deep connection with God, of your deep relationship with God, of the Spirit. And we all have that innately. When we are tiny little infants, we all have this deep connection that is abiding. And as we get older, we tend to the world gets in the way and we tend to let that get frayed sometimes we lose that connection. Sometimes our experiences, trauma, childhood, whatever it is, can mean that we don't feel that connection, even though it's always there as deeply as we would like to. And some of those barriers that can get in our way can actually stop us from moving forward, especially at a metaphysical level. And that disconnect with God, sometimes we feel it when we've had bad experiences, for instance, with church, or we've had bad experiences with people using scripture in ways that are really destructive. And sometimes those become fused for us. Those negative experiences become fused, and we associate those with God and with our relationship with God, when actually our relationship with God is far above any of those experiences, even though it doesn't feel like it at the time, when they all become kind of fused together in ways that can be really, really destructive. So for instance, if you had someone toss a bunch of Bible verses at you and it was really damaging and felt really painful, you might distance yourself from God because of that, even though you don't want to, just because those experiences kind of become one and the same. This can happen at a deep level. It happens at a psychological level within our brains and our brain waves and our brain patterns, but it also happens at a soul level. Like, we begin to question our souls. And when this happens, it can have all of these physical manifestations. It can manifest itself as this like total disconnect. It can manifest itself as this anxiety, and the anxiety masquerades what's really going on, which is that we feel like we don't have the deep connection that we want to. And then we have anxiety about it. Then we focus on the anxiety, but we never actually get to that deep connection, to that deep level that we want to have. And this is where some of the words that we use around here, some of the words you'll hear me use, like vibration and energy and deep connection and higher self, those are all ways to talk about how we are interconnected. We are interconnected with the world. It's how our souls are connected with the divine. Our souls are always connected with the divine, always. Like, there's not a darn thing we can do about that, which is great. But the way we perceive that connection is really, really important. So do we have these barriers, whether they're old experiences, whether it's childhood, whether it's old church trauma, whether it is addiction, whether it's absolutely anything that is keeping us from experiencing the full connection that we have? If you have self-limiting beliefs around who God is, about your worthiness, about your being deserving of the great and abiding love that is there for you all the time, about God's actual belief in you to be the divine creation that God created you to be, and then you don't feel that connection. I almost imagine it like there's a line, that connects our hearts to God's heart, but along that line, it's like trauma one here, self-limiting belief there. That time someone said this to me, when I disconnected myself for this reason, that can kind of stop our flow in that way. So this is where I actually love to see people reestablish that connection. I love to see their faith grow deeper. A lot of people believe that if they begin to really connect at a deep level with metaphysical practices, like, their faith is going to be tested, and they feel like there's going to be more barriers put along that line between their heart and God's heart, when in reality, those practices help smooth all those out. They help us identify what they are and transform that energy so that there's nothing stopping that flow anymore. And when we have that amazing flow, we'll start to experience all these synchronicities. We'll start to experience flow in the rest of our lives. We'll start to experience a mind, body, soul connection, that feeling of anxiety, that feeling of disconnect will go away, and all of that will come into play at once. That's a really, really beautiful thing. So this is your message. This is the message to you. Any of these barriers that are keeping you in a place of disconnect are worthy of your not consideration. They've had enough of your consideration, but they are worthy of your attention to transforming them. They're totally worthy of that. And the ways that we do that are through community. It is through radical facing what is going on, but doing that with the support of all the energy that you can learn to tap into to do that transformative work. So if there's any ounce of resentments or any ounce of fear or any ounce of anxiety that's keeping you from living the fullest life that is available to you, including a radical embrace of metaphysics as part of your Christian journey, then it's time to address those, because that means you're not living the most fully created life that you can live. And why wouldn't you embrace all of that as it's available to you? So this is where I invite you to look really deep within your soul, really deep within your heart. See what the vibration is that's there. Is it one that's fully open to embrace? Is it one where you're feeling a little closed off? Or is it one where you feel like there are barriers there? You don't want there to be barriers there. You want to match what you know, which is God's abiding love for you, and you want to feel that. Then it's time to look at some of these potential barriers that are there, and let's not do that anymore. Let's figure this out. So you can always reach out to me. You can private message me and tell me what's going on with you. Let's figure out a solution together. That's what I'm here for. Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. So it's great to see everyone. I'm going to dash for today because I am going to spend a little time in prayer and in yoga and some spiritual practices this afternoon that I've been looking forward to all day. I'll be in prayer for you. I ask that you be in prayer for me, and reach out when you are ready for your own transformation. Talk to you soon.